Okay, so Deshaun Watson's case had a lot of back and forth publicly from the lawyers involved, and that was early on. Then everything got quiet, and it got quiet because they were talking about a potential settlement. Then the potential settlement fell apart on the issue of whether and to what extent the settlement amounts and other facts would be regarded as confidential. There was a dust-up then, and then it got quiet again. And it's been very quiet up until the past few days, which makes me think that there's still a chance the dam will break. There's still a chance that one side or the other is going to bend on the issue of confidentiality, or they can find a compromise on the issue of confidentiality. Out of the blue last week, Tony Buzby, who represents the 22 women who have sued Deshaun Watson for misconduct during massage therapy sessions, Buzby came out and said there isn't a settlement and there isn't going to be one anytime soon. Now, my read on it, based on the time I spent practicing law and my knowledge and understanding and following of this case and the unique personality that is Tony Buzby, I think he's feeling some heat from his clients to get these wrapped up because they don't want to have to give depositions. They don't want this to hang around anymore. If my hunch is true that they have a general idea of what the settlement amounts will be and it got hung up on whether or not it was going to be confidential, you've got people who are thinking, what's the holdup? Yes. Why can't we get this done? This is just a paperwork
I agreed
thing.
On the money.
Why can't we get this done?
Yeah. Right.
If we have a rough understanding on the money, why is my money being held up? I'm ready to move on from this. The justice that I'm seeking through the civil justice system is the payment of money, and I'm satisfied with this. This gives me the justice that I think I deserve. Why isn't it done? And I feel like that statement from Buzby would just an effort to rattle the cage a little bit on Rusty Hardin, who represents Deshaun Watson, to maybe get somebody to blink, somebody to bend, somebody to do something so they can wrap these cases up.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, first off, I would think it's like Matt LaFleur told Jordan Love, like Tony Busby's got to be probably preparing for trial no matter what, right? That's going to be the tough thing to get ready for. And it's, adds to playing hardball and acting like, they're not ready or the deal's not ready yet, whatever that may be, posturing. But I will say this, the quote we have at the bottom to me is like the most shocking thing of this so far. With the NFL yet to interview Deshaun Watson, I don't know, am I crazy to think that why not? What's taken so long? Why hasn't that happened yet? To get teams answers and get the ball rolling on the availability or inavailability of Deshaun Watson, Mike?
Inavailability is a Simmsism, first of all, which gives us one for the day.
Monday.
You did flip coin earlier, and you corrected yourself before it could lock in. You didn't take your hand off the checker, so that one doesn't count.
This
but
one
inavailability does.
Yes.
I know what the NFL would say about this, and you're referring to Rusty Hardin's comment because he confirmed that settlement talks currently aren't happening. But he also told, I think it's KPRC in Houston, apologies if I got the letters out of order, KPRC was told by Hardin that the NFL is yet to interview Watson. The NFL would say, and they've said in the past, we wait until the end. We wait until we've talked to everyone else before we talk to the accused. And that's generally a good approach when it comes to investigating situations like this. However, there are differences when it comes to Deshaun Watson. First of all, they can talk to him as many times as they want. It's not one shot. You can talk to him, and you can talk to him again later if you need to. And to the extent that there is a preliminary process premised on deciding whether or not to put Deshaun Watson on paid leave, the preliminary investigation that they do to come to that conclusion, you would assume would include talking to Deshaun Watson. The standard is very broad. Without criminal charges, he could still be placed on paid leave if the commissioner believes he may have committed the kind of misconduct that falls into certain specific categories. And this conduct, if it's true that he did it, it falls into the category. So you interview him. You come away from the interview with a belief. He's telling the truth. He's not telling the truth. Which one is it? I feel like that's a critical component to making a responsible decision on whether or not he should be put on paid leave. And as I've said recently, Chris, they owe it to him, the Texans, and anyone who would want to trade for him to come to that conclusion and let everybody know.
Right.
Don't put people in limbo. Don't make anyone have to guess. Complete your preliminary investigation. Talk to Watson and decide yes or no, up or down, paid leave or no paid leave. And otherwise, it's an incomplete investigation that you're relying upon to make your decision as to whether or not he's going to be put on paid leave. So I think they should be talking to him now so they can decide whether or not to put him on paid leave.
I mean, that's what jumped out to me. I mean, again, I'm no lawyer or have no history in that, but I mean, I'm glad to hear you say the same thing because, that's as a fan, ex-quarterback, whatever. I mean, guy that got friends in the NFL. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that their lives are being affected a little bit here by the Deshaun Watson situation. And, yeah, it's also good for the Shield to settle this in some sort of capacity to give everybody, the direction this is going or whatever. I mean, that's right now. I was surprised by that. That really jumped out to me, and I don't know where this is going to go, Mike, and I don't know how your gut feels about maybe something getting done here before training camp starts.
Here's my cynical view.
Yeah.
My cynical view is that the NFL intentionally is creating ambiguity in the hopes that the cases settle. Because if the cases settle, the NFL has no decision to make at all other than what unpaid suspension, if any, will be imposed against Deshaun Watson. You never have to make the paid leave decision if the cases settle. Because if the cases settle, there's no prosecution, there's nothing there that would justify him being placed on paid leave. You just decide whether or not you suspend him the way you suspended Ben Roethlisberger. Right. Similar reasoning for suspending Roethlisberger would apply to Watson. But I think maybe the NFL is being deliberately vague here just as a way to give both sides, and specifically Watson, an incentive to resolve the case and just move on.
That makes sense.
They got 6 weeks to figure it out before the start of camp. It was last week Nick Caserio, the GM of the Texans, said as we get closer to camp, we'll make a good decision. There aren't many decisions to make. Trade him or keep him. That's the decision they need to make.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.